The Extempore. My role in nation building. Vidhyaam Buddhimch Dehime. The first ask is the ask of knowledge and intelligence, and then comes the gratitude towards mentors and teachers. Namaste, and thank you for welcoming me into this amazing jamboree of talent. I am Manjori, 41 years old, a student, teacher, a parent, an individual, and it's my absolute pleasure to write up this extempore for you today and talk about what I am curious to unfold about myself in the future. The topic I chose for this occasion is the role I play in building up a nation. And that's why I started my talk with a snippet of my prayer, Vidhyaam Buddhimch Dehime. Then comes the praises for the Guru, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha, Gurur Saakshaath Parabhrahma, Tasmayi Shree Gururve Namaha. As a student, it's my responsibility towards my community, my people, that's family, friends, competitors, and others, to project myself as intelligent, smart, delightfully knowledgeable, and highly motivated. The true indicator of my success is in converting my raw data, or so called academic achievements, marks, and certificates, to real world use, to potential solutions for earth problems. As a student, I learn. I get the best information from my child, who has not yet finished his first 8 years in this world, but has huge ambitions and dreams. He already has accomplished so much. He knows this prayer, and says it so well with his eyes closed and his hands joined. He literally has the aura of the Lord around his head when he believes in himself. He teaches me how easy it is to love, live, and let live. He has the widest and the most honest smile I have ever bothered to notice so intensely on anyone else. I had always been too busy chasing a career, a position, pay scales, and mortgages. He teaches me how silly the pursuit of such goals are. It is indeed important to have a healthy life, which can be bought by money too, no doubt about that. But what's really the core of happiness is to believe that the superpower out there is watching everything. A simple act of good deed is rewarded enormously. As a student, to be able to learn from any source is like unlocking a level in a video game. My son, Kabir, says that there are various stages, the highest being God. But we apparently start from being noob, or as I understand, naive. He says that there are a lot of things in which I am a noob and he too is, and that's why we are having so much fun learning from each other. There are several layers of accomplishments. Depending on how we progress and feel confident, we enhance our abilities and become pro or legend, and then eventually attain the final stages of being suitable enough to be God. It's not easy being a student at all times though. There's a lot of Guru Dakshina I have to pay every single day. But it all makes sense. I used to watch my grandmother worship. She too would wake up early in the morning and prepare for her puja essentials. I have changed the sequence based on our requirements, but I can understand how we are related. The genes don't lie. I'm just as articulate and organized as her. Only our materials have changed. The highlight of ingredients she used in the early morning rituals were flowers picked from the garden, the white and red sandalwood that she needed to make a paste of just by slowly rubbing them on a small wet stone slab. She had different oil lamps for the morning. The scented sticks too were chosen for the occasion. Something as I do too. Not so much into the preparation of idols or idol worship, but for my reality, my Kabir. I can never pick flowers. It hurts. Plants have life, and it would mean that I am a hypocrite if I water my plants and then deceive them by plucking away their most beautiful output. But I do pick my ingredients for his lunchbox, his breakfast, and plan ahead right through to dinner, and sometimes even marinate meats and fish for the next few days. I don't do anything different from what people are doing all over the world. It started many centuries ago in reality. I believe I've been his creator for lives together, and he has been my curator. In, in fact, this is true for all of us. We have designated curators, and we too perform as inspectors for many. How does all this build to our nation? My nation, my India. I'm also a Kiwi. I was born in Nigeria. So, where exactly am I from? Does it really matter? India. I live here now. I'm bringing up my child here. But he too is a New Zealander. We love India, the traditions, the festivals, the food, the clothes, culture, beaches, weather, people, colors, the humidity and the sweat, public transport. Nothing seems to be enough. Every day we wake up to experience it just a little more and sleep satisfied about living in the world's most beautiful place. Everything about Mangalore makes us smile. An honest smile that can't be replaced by moving to any other place. But it was wonderful living in Wellington too. We learned how amazing it is to know about each other, even when we were poles apart. How, at the end of it all, we're really just born with skin, bones, blood, and flesh, and after living to a full term, we'll really just end up being one with nature. Nigeria, where it all began for me. My dad was a doctor working at a medical university there. He was the best. He taught me very early in life about Sant Kabir Das and what he used to say about life, living, and dying. He was Dr. Ashoka the Great. That's how I used to call him sometimes. For me, he was more than just that king who ruled a world called India way too many years ago through love, peace, and tranquility, which was an outcome of a terrible defeat at Kalinga. As a singular soul, my confusion of developing just one nation gets ironed out a little bit more every day when I learn something new. I'm not focused to develop just one nation. I'm not partial towards any one country. I'm not an influencer or a political leader either. My views may really not matter or motivate anyone enormously. I just do my part. I do it because I love to. It's just too amazing to be living a righteous life. It's a trend that's catching up again. The benefits of a simple life are so pure and profound that one can only relish it when they delve into it completely. Imagine your prayers is not about asking anything at all, and it's only about being thankful that for some fantastic reason you got another day to live. So it might just be that one last day. You really, really need to be capitalizing on it, on yourself. I try to think about one thing at a time, one country at a time. But I quickly get inclined towards thinking about the bigger picture, about the retirement plan I have in mind, and because if I do end up surviving and getting really old, it'll only make sense to develop any country when I can think about how it will end up looking for me. Which country, like which country is going to look like what for me. I might sound a little too selfish, but then if we all are, then wouldn't it actually be fruitful? Well, let me explain that. If I think like the daughter of the greatest king known to the Indian mankind, Ashoka the Great, it'll automatically become my responsibility to uplift his name and continue that legacy. And at the same time, being a parent to Sant Kabir Das would make it imperative that I have to be very careful to honor his existence too. The name plays a vital role in developing oneself. If we do this together, it'll be absolute fun. Think about your name, its real meaning, the reason why your parents or whoever decided to name you like that. How much has your name changed over your period of time? Who calls you what and why? How often do you write your name, just scribbling and making it look pretty? What's the first thing you write on wet sand at the beach? Then, like the cause and effect method of living, connect your name with what purpose you have here on this planet, in your community, and in that nation you're so proud of. It doesn't end here. Try connecting the dots. Who else has your name? What did they end up doing? How, when, why, and what did you like or dislike in their methods? How can you as an individual improvise? And why not? It's only when we as individuals are on the path of true development is when we will be able to make any figurative changes to the wider community. It is spot on that we need a lot of doctors, engineers, lawyers, but in all honesty, we need a lot more cleaners and supporting staff, people who can manage and maintain what is already here on this planet. We ideally don't need any more innovation or new things. We have enough to recycle and reuse. In Wellington, it was very easy to live like that. There were several open homes which were neatly categorized, marked, and these rooms were generally closer to schools and residential areas. It had lots of toys, clothes, shoes, bags, cutlery, grocery items, linen, anything else that you could possibly think of to be picked up and replaced as per your needs. I had personally hardly ever bought anything for a few years while I was there. I had made it look pretty natural to my boy too. He loves his toys, cars, bikes, and we always walked up to these rooms after school to pick up whatever we wanted. We would wear, play, and use those things and then return them clean after we were bored. That's what everyone else in the community also did. We traveled to different places and always visited the second-hand shops or such free take-it-all rooms. It would be great if that culture could be brought into India too. Small, makeshift, clean rooms with wonderful choice of things to simply be picked up and replaced with whatever we didn't really need or use anymore. The number of books we have read and exchanged was absolutely phenomenal. And I believe that it would help us grow beyond the need of acquiring wealth. It would make us a lot more open to accepting gifts, being high on gratitude, and also enjoy the vibes of donating. We pay humongous amount of money to religious bodies in the name of faith. As a child, I too did a lot of that because I loved the sound of coins that made when I put them into the tiny slit in that metal box, donation box. I was always drawn to the beggars, and putting my palm out to my dad and looking at him with the same level of helplessness always got me a coin. I would always smile, bless him, and put that coin in the box. He would smile, shake his head, and bless me back. He too was an atheist, but we pray for forgiveness. Not for, but we pray for forgiveness for not being addicted to idol worship or for not taking the names of the different gods when in trouble. I pray to thank my God for giving me the confidence and faith that there is a superpower who knows what is the best for us, and that power will make this journey on earth very enjoyable. My dad's with the superpower now, so it makes it doubly believable, relatable, and I am more carefree than I ever was. Our real place of worship is ourselves. Taking care of our own mental and physical health is going to make us the glow this world needs, this nation needs. I look at my crowd too often and take a deep breath. It makes me want to be a cadaver. My dad, as an anatomist, used to say, there aren't a lot of good dead bodies out there. Most have something wrong on the inside. It's either a heart disorder, a liver function issue, lungs congested with too much pollution, obesity, or hunger that makes the stomach unnatural. I majored in psychology and used to have conversations with him about how important it is to have a healthy mind and to have a healthy body. To have a healthy body. He agreed, but he also always said, it's very important to have a healthy body in order to have a healthy or a happy mind. There's no escape. We have determined that the world is round. We'll get back to the same place eventually. We'll end up meeting the same people, making the same mistakes, winning the same games, humming the same songs, dancing to the same beats, clapping to the same magic shows, diving into the same sort of waves. Nature isn't too varied after all. And even if it is, it doesn't really take too long to visit places, meet people, and feel elated of knowing something original. What happens will stay here, be it the good stories, the bad failures, the nasty wars, or the peace treaties. As characters, we'll change our names, our places of existence, our values and principles, our parents, our children, siblings and friends, our jobs, hobbies, habits, and faces. But deep down, it'll still be us. There's absolutely nowhere else to go. Now, even outer space isn't out of bounds. Everything is constructed. All we need to finally start doing is living it up. No, I'm not high on any substance. This is the outcome of simple living and high thinking for too long. The only thing we can't get to is the time that's past, a moment in the future. We're just here, now, and that's pretty much it. Well, then one might ask, why am I competing to win the prize money by making people read stuff like this? With that money, I'll travel with Kabir across boundaries into Sri Lanka. I haven't been to China. It would be awesome to walk into Pakistan and even Nepal for that matter. Buy food, a lot of it, and watch theatre or cultural dance programs in the neighboring communities. We have the basics. We, by God's grace, have a place to stay, jobs that are super exciting, neighbors who always care for us, and lots of clothes and things like that. We, in fact, have a tiny fish bowl and lots of plants in the balcony too. But what we could buy are tickets with the money if we win it. We are thankfully not disconnected as we were sometime during the Stone Age. I mean, we were connected back then too, but everything was stone's throw. Pun intended. But now, yes, we have political borders. and thriving army businesses that support a huge economical cost, and we pay for it from our taxes. But that too doesn't mean to say that we can do this in silo. I can't do anything alone. And that's the beautiful fact that no one else can either. It's not a one man show, it's not a competition. It's a team effort and an initiative to be taken worldwide to grow, advance, and mend the broken pieces of past errors, to be it in the fields of conservation of natural resources, accepting each other's religious beliefs, appreciating one another's identity orientation, food habits, clothing choices, nationalities, dialects, and so much more. With the advancements in every sphere of development, be it medical science, technology of different sorts, right from the internet to artificial intelligence, marketing, economics, political viewpoints, fashion, culture and traditions, manufacturing industries, factories, and most importantly, schools, colleges, and universities. The possibilities of leading a life in a positive manner is a lot easier compared to how it was just yesterday. With time, we'll only get luckier. Our comfort will only increase, and so the chances of we using our gray matter is only going to get better. The main question then arises is, what do we do with it? How would we channelize our learning? The best thing for millennials is they don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything is available to us on glorified platters. Just like the things that can be reused, our intellectual property, our emotions and psychological impacts we create to others, on others, the strength we give others by using the right words, that voice modulation we keep talking about, our tone, our gestures and expressions needs to be reused. We need to remember how we made someone else feel great about themselves, how we worked at making them a far more superior version of themselves, and then keep doing it till we need to take some rest. Sleep it off. That's the best remuneration. Nothing can beat a good night sound sleep. And in all honesty, the softness of a mattress has actually zero to no potential at contributing towards that powerful nap. Been there, done it. The 10-day program at Vipassana taught me that again. It wasn't the easiest journey back then, but when I think about it now, I can't stop recommending it to as many people as I know. The last time when I did a solo island stay in New Zealand, it gave me ample time to meet my demons, one after the other, sometimes even together, screaming between my eardrums. But the best part was to be able to calm them down to an extent that they didn't need to be slayed. Imagine how Durga Puja would look like if Durga simply shook hands with Maheshwaraha and said something on the lines of, "Are you done? Can we be friends and work together again maybe? I have 10 hands, I ride a lion, and I am buddies with the entire community of gods." These are all the assets they shared with me. As I estimate, your expertise is in having that amazing quality or attribute of becoming a demon or a bull based on your mood. Well, that's just remarkable. Do we need to have a bloodshed situation? Haven't we already learned how painful it is to kill and then explain that murder to our kids every single year? I mean, I went ballistic when my husband decided to chop my son's head off because he was upset, and then have his friends replace my child's beautiful face that I literally worked on with the head of an elephant. So the point is, we're all powerful here. So instead, if we just respect each other's spaces, behavioral differences, and appreciate that we both come from diverse backgrounds and have super potentials, then maybe we could all have a much more peaceful experience or in existence? But then the army simply keeps growing. Leadership and politics are becoming increasingly acronyms instead of becoming synonyms. It would be so much more peaceful if we helped one another in whichever way we could and maintain our imaginary spreadsheets with powerful tools and resources on how to continually improvise and share this amazing knowledge with anyone. Keep it password free and have people just read it like the newspaper. What if our newspapers were full of amazing positive deeds and not just about murders, rapes, thefts, and other sad stories? We can choose our skill, polish it, and plug it into the wild world puzzle game that needs to be fixed. We can tweak the design laid out by centuries of hard work and integrity towards building us. As people of the newer generation, we have the ability to skip past the mundane quicksand of age old bureaucracy and limiting mentalities and survive to achieve higher intellect by joining each other globally on fascinating endeavors. As teachers, parents, and professionals, it'll be equally exciting to join hands and minds with the newest and the youngest folks growing up way too quickly towards an unidentified goal. I spend 50% of my time with children and the other 50% with adults providing solutions to their problems. And surprisingly, most of the problems are caused because of overthinking and assuming that the worst case scenario might become the obvious outcome. It's amazing how I believe that there's still a lot of potential to spend time with oneself. There's nothing like blogging while eating the healthiest home cooked meal with salads and dips while listening to music. The best investment in is the investment in self love, self care, self appreciation, self talk, self laugh, self cry. The list can go on. But the point is, if you are one with yourself, then it's never too hard to be doing anything for anyone because you are in constant connection with your own core. And you know for a fact that everything good that you do will equally or enormously be returned back to you. A lot like mutual funds, but with an absolute guarantee that it'll work each time and the overflow will benefit your family, friends, community, nation, planet, nature, etc. How spectacular is that? Too easy to figure that out, isn't it? I'm sure our school curriculums is all about this because everything else is available on the internet. Imagine all day we as teachers could talk about these amazing stories and have children pour out their innocence with those beautifully expressive eyes, sweet voices, and simple words. Some still stammering with enthusiasm, laughing, singing, and dancing with even animals around, not locked up in cages that we call classrooms for some reason. It could be a state run school, Montessori teaching style, CBSE, ICSE, international schools, anything. But the core of education could be all about making simple people with simple choices, with sweet dreams and helpful natures. We don't have to force them to study. They don't have to keep memorizing formulas or tables or square roots. It's all plugged into so many apps. They just need to use it if they really have to. They can just ask anyone if it's really that important to know. How essential is it to have marks for admission? And admission into what? Another institute that kills goodness, godliness, and creates robots through torture and make it all look good? Communication is the essence of growth, and with the internet and mobile technologies, getting in touch with anyone at any time for anything is not even an issue. We are the smart generation which isn't scared, not overwhelmed by the taboos that govern the way people thought about others. We are our nation's pride, and we are absolutely happy with the choices we make to progress in our own future. We are here to stay, thrive, and we are the architects of the next couple of generations. When I say progress, what I mean is we need to look at each other for a little longer. Notice when someone's wrinkles are getting deeper, when hairlines recede or the strands get silvery, when the speech gets blurry and the vision seems dull. Progress is when we can think, watch a butterfly fly, be in no hurry to get somewhere else all the time and running past those who have their fingers waiting to touch us. Progress is not shutting someone down when they really just want to sing a little longer in the shower or lick that curry off their plate, yawn, stretch, or simply sleep. It pains me immensely when I see people rustle off without smiling to workplaces that they hate so much, wearing uncomfortable clothes and shoes only because they have to maintain the societal norms and the corporate requirements. We have learned from our textbooks designed by our seniors that there's really no point in waging wars or wasting time in unnecessary shyness or in ignoring massive conflicts. The biggest conflicts are in our own minds. The requirement to oppose and feel elated to have a better solution than the one proposed. All battles have won when approached with an out-of-the-box mentality, negotiations, and finding a win-win alternative idea. How hard is it? What's wrong with saying and trusting that, yes, that's a great idea, let's work on it together, and surely we'll see the best of us soon. As long as we are learning, we are students. As long as we are teaching, we are mentors. The guiding light in lives of people around. As a parent, our job never really ends. But as children, we are the cradle for the rest of the world. As children, we are the most responsive and are accountable to ourselves. We cannot no longer hurt ourselves in the quest of becoming brand ambassadors of reputed money-churning organizations. As long as we as individuals are ready to change our own attitude and knowing that growth or development is a holistic mechanism that needs universal contribution from all nations included, there is nothing that can stop us from living a peaceful life. The reason I keep saying that we need to grow together is basically to avoid conflict. Haven't we all experienced that at some point or the other? And some of us have been lucky to experience it more than just once. That when we have the most captivating gift, we are attacked. For instance, back in time, our Rajas and Maharajas wore gold, diamonds, and emeralds and walked around like they ruled the world. They adorned their palaces and women with glittering wealth of what belonged to our nation. The aroma of our spices traveled beyond borders. Our silks, muslin, and indigo got others curious. Our clothes, makeup, beauty product, health and therapy practices, our architecture, literature, scriptures, myths, and superstitious beliefs too attracted unwanted attention. And that's it. We got invaded and captured, tortured, and torn apart. Until now, even after decades and millions of people dead, we are still stitching up our torn linen. It's the same story. Even in Africa, I remember how my parents told me that we had abundance of food everywhere. Cashews simply hung from trees and eventually just rotted like any other weed. The papayas, watermelon, pineapples simply grew in the wild and tasted so perfect. What happened then? How do we get to see so many pictures of dying kids, emaciated and frail? What contributed to such mass poverty? Is it even true? Or is it just a marketing strategy to have more people make donations? I don't know. And I don't think anyone else does either. The reality is, our nation is as far as our connections go. Our community is our nation. A few ripples that we create around us who get directly and indirectly affected by our personality, our assertiveness, and most importantly, our speech and action, our behavior in general. The wealth is not in the currencies and exchange of goods by slogging ourselves into spaces of zero passion. The true definition of wealth is that smile we wear, the glow in our skin, the hands that raise in the praises of those who really make a difference in our lives. It could be that person who swept our roads, picked up those pieces of plastic in the parks, fixed those benches in public places, that person who smiled at us for no reason, who said something sweet only to cheer us up, that person who helped an elder while crossing the road or in the bank or in the shop. It's really not that hard to be kind, is it? Growing up in school, we had moral science classes and a dedicated book called the Good Deed Book. We had to write good deeds we did, and there were at least 5 different things that we had to mention every single day. We had the first period in the morning in our timetable when we spoke about it. We were kids back then, and I know some of us copied each other's good deeds. I guess it was the best punishment we got when our teachers understood that we copied notes, because they would tell us to go ahead and do that good deed. History is our best educators, and we, as global citizens, know it is in togetherness that is strength, and in unity we are diverse, but we are always heading in the same direction. We have huge hopes, plans, dreams, and responsibilities. And I talk because I feel there's a need to shift, to make that paradigm shift in our priorities. It's already pretty late, and monotony is setting in to such extents that kids have reduced laughing. Old people have not been saying enough fairy tales. Folklore is almost vanished. Hardly do I see people enjoying hopscotch. It's so noisy out there, but I still sometimes hear my heart beating so loudly on the inside, screaming about how lonely it is. Sometimes I'm not sure if it's just me, or am I hearing the voices of those who look extremely busy around me? Anyway, what if I told you that we are not human, but instead we are plants? It's okay. It's just my thought, and it's a way to break into some animated humor. Let's picture ourselves as seeds planted in the fertile soil of a country for about 4 decades. From that seed, we bloomed into saplings. That's when we were nurtured with ideas that weren't particularly of our own, but was interesting enough depending upon how it was told to us. Some of us had to learn it the boring way, like memorizing it, and others had witty teachers who dramatized it. Many unfortunate students had to learn it from their life with no instruction manuals. Now, after several rains, storms, earthquakes, famines, tsunamis, restructures, redevelopments, and so much more, we've bloomed enough to absorb the energies around us. It wasn't my fault that I was planted where I was, or where my bees pollinated. I was born with an open mind, with thoughts that boomeranged in different directions. I was certainly told to calm down and tame my dialogues on several occasions, and I did too. But like blood, water, imagination, energies, and beliefs, it wasn't always under control. I've had instances where I bled like a rubber plant. I oozed enthusiasm of changing the world and contaminating the lost souls. And I deep rooted my moral values into the mangroves that spread so soon through air and water. It's my attempt once more today to do something like that again. To build a nation in which we grow as trees and feel comfortable with shading each other, being homes to lost animals, to be harvested of our philosophies, and to become the fuel for generations to come. Even our fossils would be priceless and would be worth an anthropological research. So much wealth, so much knowledge, and together the possibilities are unlimited. And all of that for a comfortable retirement plan. If we genuinely came together to continue doing what we already are, simply because we care and not because of the mere money associated with it, we would literally all just relax by the beach, sipping on juice, watching the sun go down. One life well lived. That's all, folks. Love talking to you about what really kept me awake today. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. Please do get in touch with him, Kabir, on our social media. I keep sharing my thoughts about him way too often. We are Kabir Tripathi and Manjori Sania. Bye bye and have a great day ahead. Thank you.